This is Huck Jr., the host of In the Hut, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Network. All barbecue and grilling, all the time.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show, the show where we talk about all things that are important in the world of barbecue. From big-name interviews with competitors on the barbecue circuit, grill manufacturers and pit makers, to advice on cooking brisket and ribs. You'll find it all right here on the Barbecue Central Show. Your host, Greg Rempe, is a backyard barbecue and grilling fanatic and loves to talk about his passion, which many of us share together. You can learn more about barbecue and grilling by visiting the website, thebbqcentral.com. Now, let's get in the smoke. Here's your program host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show. Yeah, it's the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. Central Lights has your life. We originate from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, rapidly becoming known as the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here tonight. Let me give you some contact information in case you want to jump in. Happy to have you. You can call in toll-free at 877-448-0433. You can also email the show, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. That's the new email address. And again, the phone number is 877-448-0433. Here's what's happening tonight. Coming up in about 14 minutes from now, going to be joined by competitive barbecuer and custom pit manufacturer John Patty from JP Custom Smoke. You remember John made his appearance on the Barbecue Central Show back in March. He was part of the Barbecue Ribs Roundtable, which was to high avail, large customer satisfaction with those roundtables. John Patty, part of that. He'll be coming up at about 15 past the hour to talk some competition barbecue, pit manufacturing, just some overall thoughts about what the world of competition barbecue is like out there today. So look for John Patty. Quarter past the hour, 35 past, going to be joined by one of the barbecue legends out there, Jim Minion from Two Loose Screws Barbecue. It's also a catering company. Jim, if you know anything about barbecue, and it does not have to be about competition at all, Jim Minion, you might have heard the word minion before, Minion Method. That's the guy that pretty much all of us use that form or some type of deviated form to fire up the charcoal cookers out there. The Minion Method, that is named after Jim Minion. So he'll be joining us not to talk about that. We already had him on the show a long time ago to talk about that. Give him proper due, much like Weber finally did. But we're going to be talking about the Wagyu beef, the Wagyu brisket. Been hearing all about it from a lot of the shows, a lot of people on the forums talking about how they're using it. In my opinion, some really big names in the competition world say they're using it. And as Myron Mixon said last week during the After Dark segment, success begets success begets success. A lot of people trying to turn to the Wagyu beef brisket. So we're going to see if this is all it's cracked up to be. Jim has a large amount of experience dealing with the Wagyu beef. Also, he'll be able to educate us on the Kobe beef side of things as well, because he does have a higher-end barbecue catering business to go along with that competition team. That'll be 35 past the hour. 4-segment free-for-all filled with fun and succulent prizes for you to win. All you have to do is listen live, call in at the right time. We have frog mats. We have wood smoke products from Greenleaf Barbecue. We have your choice of some Cosmos Q products to include the beef and pork injection. He also has a chicken soak, and that new product called the pork soak is available too. And you get to pick whichever one you want, and he will ship it out to you. And then we have some new giveaways from the good folks over at Easy Hooks, which can be found at bbqhooks.com. We're not giving away the barbecue hook today, but we have a new line of rub that they are carrying, and they're looking to feature and get some of word of mouth out via the show with some of their wild game rubs. Also some cedar planks for your cooking pleasure. So lots of stuff to give away during the fourth segment, and then, of course, whatever we don't give away during the first hour after the After Dark segment, we will open up the prize closet and clear it out as we did last week. Speaking of After Dark, 10:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll look to have Chris Hart from IQ joining us. They are the most recent winners of the New England Barbecue Society Team of the Year. They are the current reigning champions of the Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. They won that in 2009 last year, almost a year ago. It'll be in October. So we're going to be, again, talking competition barbecue, talking about a possible repeat as Jack Daniel's champions, talking about, obviously, the team of the year winning up in the NEBS, or the New England Barbecue Society. So he's a great guy to talk barbecue with. He's been on the show a few different times. Chris Hart from IQ at 10:05. And that's what's happening tonight. 877-448-0433 if you want to jump in. Also, Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. Look, I want to make sure that I mention this right off the top, and I meant to do this a couple weeks ago. And this is just a general public service announcement to the world of grillers out there. Because typically, if you have a barbecue pit and you're cooking on it a lot, you know that inherently it's just going to collect a lot of fat and a lot of grease and stuff. And I think that except for the anal retentive chefs out there like me, I think that there's more of a propensity to do a thorough cleaning of the barbecue pit more than you do with your grill. And I don't know exactly why that is. Perhaps there's some sort of connection with high heat and self-cleaning oven, perhaps. Not necessarily wrong, but I mean, if you're using that grill 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, I mean, when it's nice weather, I'm out there the better balance of the week using the grill, without a doubt, whether it be to whip up some side dishes or whether it's doing the whole entree, appetizer, and dessert, or whatever the case may be. But you have to practice proper grill maintenance. If you haven't done the thorough grill cleaning yet this season, and what season really? That's a relative term anyway. Take 2 hours out Friday, or when you get home from work, or Saturday in the morning before it gets really hot out, depending on where you are in the country, and take the grill apart. Take the burners out, clean out the firebox, clean out and get a new grease drip tray, or hang a new beer can if you have a little cheap-ass Willie Hangdown Jones. Clean out the beer can or hang a new beer can. Really give that grill some loving, because, and I have to admit that I was a little lackadaisical cleaning mine out this year. But I did it about 3 weeks ago, and you really don't realize you're suffering with a dirty grill until you actually do the cleaning and get it back to its kind of new state. And it's able to regulate temperature better, and it is able to ramp up to the hotter ends a lot quicker, and it's able to come down a lot quicker as well, because it's not kind of feeding off all that grease and fat and crap that has been accumulating since the last time that you cleaned it. And if you don't remember the last time you cleaned it, you need to take those 2 hours out at a minimum and get that grill clean and succulent before you get that next round of beef or chicken or whatever it is you're going to be cooking on that grill. So clean the grill. Do it for me. And by the way, kind of as a follow-up to that, if you have cast iron grates, and it seems that cast iron grates have really taken a turn of popularity. They were kind of like the anti-cooking grate about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's kind of pseudo-twin brother, the porcelain-coated cast iron grate, became very popular. A lot of people were swapping out whatever type of grill grate had, or whatever the OEM grill grate was that came with their particular manufactured grill, and putting in these PCI grates. They were very popular, and they were great because they had, obviously, all of the characteristics of the cast iron, except they had that nice porcelain coating on it, so you didn't have to worry about them rusting. So if you have the cast iron grates, if you've gone out and bought some of these new aftermarket cast iron grates that are out there and becoming very popular these days, it is my firm belief that you have to be diligent with the maintenance. And what I mean by that is, as they're coming down in temperature after you've cooked on them, just grab a big can of Pam, and when it's about 350 degrees, 400 degrees or less, give it a good spray down on the top. If you can get underneath it, give it a good spray down underneath it as well, just to keep that rust from prohibiting the growth. Because once it gets growing, it's kind of like a cancer for your grill, and I hate to use that term, but it really grows like crazy. It's hard to get on top of. So season the cast iron grates, people, and you will not be sorry that you've taken that time out to properly attend to your cooking implement. That's what it's all about. Proper grill hygiene. A clean grill is a healthy grill, according to Ted Reeder, and we follow those rules. Hey, quick reminder that the Barbecue Central Show is presented by the 5th Annual Taste of the Deerfield Valley. Myron Mixon headlines this September in Vermont with a VIP dinner, cooking demonstration, and a food festival. Basically, there's just going to be a lot of food, a lot of delicious food for your consuming pleasure. Plus, you get to hang with Myron Mixon on a VIP event on that Friday. It's September 10th through the 12th, and you can secure your tickets right now. Packages starting at $159 a person. CelebrateTheValley.com. Hook that up, and you will not be disappointed. We're going to raise up John Patty after the break. It's Rempy and you right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Show.
Barbecue fans travel from all over the country and the world to learn the secrets of real pit barbecue from Grand Champion Pitmaster Conrad Haskins. Now take your skills to the next level with a Barbecue Institute Pitmaster class. You'll learn how to make sauces, rubs, and smoke mouth-watering barbecue every time you cook. Your new skills will impress friends and family. Internet forums, blogs, and Facebook are full of success stories from our graduates. Upcoming classes locations include Rock City Rib Fest, Rochester, New York, Lexington, Massachusetts, Lang Factory Test Kitchen in Georgia, Fort Worth, Texas, Fredericksburg, Texas, Houston, Texas, Monroe, Washington, and Kennewick, Washington. For more information, class dates, and contests we'll be competing in, visit www.bbqclass.com. That's bbqclass.com.
Central Lights. You having marriage troubles? Your kid's unruly and don't listen? Then you need the Ribolator, because great barbecue will always bring the family together. And the Ribolator always cooks great award-winning barbecue. You can try it free for 30 days, and if your family life doesn't improve, just send it back. Ribolator even pays return shipping. But you need to take that first step. Visit Ribolator.com to get started or call 206-999-0962. Don't you deserve a happy barbecue family?
Introducing Cosmos Q. Cosmos injections and marinades use only the finest ingredients, and they mix easily, never clotting or caking. From our beef injection to our pork injection, you're guaranteed to wow your friends, family, and judges. And don't forget to check out our newest marinade, Cosmos Chicken Soak, for that moist and tender chicken you're gonna love. You can find all of Cosmos award-winning products at CosmosQ.com. Cosmos Q, the new generation. Taste the difference.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Quarter past. This is the Barbecue Central Show, presented by the 5th annual Taste of the Deerfield Valley Myron Mixon headlines this September in Vermont with a VIP dinner and cooking demonstration. CelebrateTheValley.com is that website. Also, Yoder Smoky Mountain Barbecue, the leading online retailer of Meadow Creek barbecue equipment. These barbecue smokers, grills are all handcrafted in the Amish country of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, helping you enjoy easy and profitable barbecues for years to come. Serious BBQs, that's bbqs.com. is the website. Good folks over at Yoder's Smoky Mountain Barbecue. All right, as promised, joining me now, man whose introduction to the show was one of the more, let's call it entertaining avenues in. He was part of the Ribs Roundtable back in March. He got swallowed up in the Echo Monster, but I was assured that this will not be the case this time. In 2009, he was ranked number 1 in the Ribs category in the KCBS, and according to the Pickled Pig, he is currently 81st overall out of 3,700 teams in the KCBS. It's Pitmaster of JP Custom Smoke, John Patty, joining us. John, how are you tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing excellent, John, and I appreciate you taking time out here for the show. This past weekend, John, you were in Dodge City, Kansas, taking part in that barbecue event out there. You finished 4th overall. No surprise that you win the ribs category, of course, considering your long, storied history of winning the ribs. But you did pretty well in the 3 other categories, too. Kelly Wirtz of 4 Legs Up Barbecue takes the win in the event overall. But as you look at JP Custom Smoke, how did you feel the cook won for you guys?
Oh, it was all good, except for that chicken category, and it's beating us up this year. Actually, I think it beat us up last year, too, if you want to know the truth.
So what do you chalk that up to when you have a category that seems to be an Achilles heel? Do you have to go back and do a wholesale change? Or are you tracking little bits of change here and there to see how the judges react to it? I mean, how do you go about kind of fixing that?
I'm changing it every weekend, cooking it probably 5 days a week. Almost divorced over that. But we're going to get it figured out sooner or later. If not, I'm going to take a cook class.
That's funny. We're going to probably get into that here in a second. But you did 3 events in July. You were a little more than, or we're a little bit more than halfway through the KCBS season right now. What are your expectations, if any, for the rest of the season for JP Custom Smoke?
We're looking at it from week to week. We're off a couple weeks. We'll do a couple more contests and see where we stand, and we may come back out there and start chasing that category again.
Now, you've been competing in the KCBS for a while now. You've seen success both in overall standings, also in the individual categories. How do you feel about the KCBS as a whole right now, and do you feel it's continuing to go in the right direction?
I think they are. I think they've got a good group on the board, and if you've got issues, you just contact them, and they seem to resolve anything that comes up, or if you've got a problem, they get right after it.
John Patty joining us. He's the pitmaster of JP Custom Smoke. John, there's been talk in the past about the possibility of some kind of new super faction breaking off of the KCBS and becoming its own circuit with its own rules and judging style, bigger purses, perhaps a shorter season. To this point, that's really all it's been, just talk. But do you foresee a time where this actually might happen, or this will be something that is always bannered about more and nothing will actually ever come out of it?
I really don't think you'll ever see it. I think it's been tried. It's all good, too. But KCBS has been around, 25 years or longer, and they seem to do a supreme job, and I believe they'll hang in there for many years, I hope.
Do you think that there's going to be coming a time, and I know that KCBS has teamed up with MMA marketing to really kind of bring some new corporate sponsors to the table, and obviously the hope was to bring also more prize money and exposure, but do you think there's going to be a point where there's going to be the opportunity to win substantial prize money for the teams that are out there willing to do the 30, 35 events during the course of the year? Or is it always going to be maybe one or two or three really big competitions, and the rest of them are going to be within that $85,000 to $10,000 prize purse?
Well, that's really hard to say. Right now, the way the economy and everything is, people are tightening their belts. So, as time goes along, hopefully they will pick up more sponsors. And but right now, it's tough out there for anybody that cooks or just anybody.
So, is it just in your own personal opinion, when people are out there doing it, is it just because they really love to cook and they want to see how their barbecue stacks up? Or do you think there's some teams out there that are actually looking to make some money off the back of competition barbecue?
I don't think there's really no money in it unless you could maybe go to the Royal. That would pay for your year. But last year we did 30 contests, made $28,000, and every contest we go to, we're going to spend $500 or more. So by the time you travel, there's no money. It's all for fun and meeting new people and just good fellowship.
Is it a little frustrating? This is completely off track here, but it's just something that popped in my mind. Is it a little frustrating that if you were really one of the top teams in the KCBS, and if you look at some other kind of niche sports, for instance, I had Joey Chestnut on a couple weeks ago. He's the premier competitive eater out there in Major League Eating. And he has a regular day job Monday through Friday. He's construction management, but then 15 or 20 times on a weekend, and he's eating for 10, 12 minutes at the most. He can amass well into the six figures just on competition eating. Is that kind of frustrating to see some of these other niche sports be able to garner that much money on that kind of a part-time effort than what you guys are able to see in competition barbecue, or is it really not comparable?
I don't compare it. I don't even look at that. Barbecue is barbecue, and no, I don't even look at it like that.
He is certainly an eater. We can leave it at that. John Patty joining us, JP Custom Smoke. Now, aside from the competition, John, you also make barbecue pits. When did you kind of tinker into that business?
A couple of years ago. I bought a pit from a good friend down in Point, Texas, and I told him that it was a nice pit and everything, and I just wanted to add some gleam, so I kind of took his model and changed it up a couple of years ago and put a stainless steel theme to it and tried to make it a little bit sharper. And as we speak, I just got done working on one out in the garage a little bit ago and trying to make it sharper, so always trying to improve. And it's a hobby. I probably have 5 of them out there on the market, but it's a hobby, and a little extra money when you sell one to go play in this barbecue stuff we play in.
Is it something you would like to get more and more into business with, or just something to pass the time?
Absolutely not. I got 2 full-time jobs. No, not at all.
Now, John,
We'll build you one though if you want it. We wouldn't run anybody away, but I have enough hours in the week as it is. So no, it's all hobby.
Now, John, you gave the Centralites a lot of great tips during the Rib Roundtable back in March for the listeners out there who might be considering getting into the competition world. What do you feel are the most important things to consider when getting into the sport?
Well, if you're going to get into it, I'd highly recommend going out there and finding the best pit that you can buy. And unlike I did, I just went out there and started cooking and not knowing what I was doing. I would recommend a cook class. It'll save you maybe some time, and you're going to spend some money, but you'll make some money. I think there's a lot of good cook classes out there. I'd recommend one of those also.
Here's that follow-up question I was looking to ask. You know, John, there seemed to have been a proliferation of cooking classes here probably in the last 2 or 3 years especially. In your opinion, and it sounds like I'm answering my own question here, but you obviously think that these classes are well worth the money and helping these teams kind of lessen the learning curve. And do you think they benefit experienced teams as well?
Oh, absolutely. It's a benefit. I just talked to a seasoned cook over the weekend that took another cook class, and I asked him straight up, was it worth it? And he said, yeah. He picked up some things, and so he's already a good cook. So I really believe that I could probably use one myself and pick up a few pointers.
Now, I've talked to a few of the more successful pitmasters on the show here regarding flavor profiles, and I posed this question to them, and I wanted to kind of get your take on it as well. If the popularity of the cooking classes continues to grow, do you think at some point, and perhaps maybe sooner than later, there'll become an originality deficit or a vanilla-ing in regards to flavor profiles, because so many people on the circuit will be using what's winning now versus coming up with their own unique flavor profiles, which would obviously lead to more diversity in the long run. Where do you weigh out on that?
I think it's already here, actually. I think it's here, except for maybe that chicken category. And again, I'd like to find it.
All right, let's. I'm going to institute a new portion of the question and answer process here, and I'm going to call it the rapid fire segment. John, you're the virgin here, so kind of bear with me. I'm going to ask you like a question or a category question. Just kind of give me a quick answer. Kind of bear with me on that.
Sure.
Again, this is John Patty from JP Custom Smoke here with the rapid fire questions. John, brisket, whole packers or flats, and fat side up or fat side down in the cooker?
Whole packers, fat up.
Why fat up?
Oh, I just think it tends to let some of that good stuff drain through that meat. Actually, I go half up, half down.
All right, half up, half down. Pork, injection or no?
Injection.
Chicken, quickest trick to bite through skin?
Pan it.
Pan it, all right. Ribs, spares or baby backs?
Spares.
Name the baseball team that the Hall of Fame broadcaster Harry Carey used to call all the games for.
Oh, come on, man. I'm into barbecue, not baseball.
You don't know who that is?
No.
Come on, John. It's the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, sorry.
Of course. You knew that. You were just playing along. I appreciate that. Now, one other thing I wanted to ask you about, John, here before I let you go, is I know you're also a customer of one of the sponsors of the show, which happens to be BBQ Teams Online, and they're providing a resource or fully customizable websites for anybody that wants to get online. How's that relationship working out for you, and what are the advantages you find using Mike Ryan over at BBQ Teams Online versus buying your own stuff and giving it a go?
Well, first off, I just got an email from him today. He's offering anybody right now, if you want to get your team online, 1 month free, so you can't go wrong. He's just got so many options. He can help you out with logos, everything. He can put your store on there. The biggest thing I like about it is he's linked up to KCBS, and we didn't even have to come in and plug in our results off of KCBS on our website. Once KCBS posted them, it automatically came up, and he's got some really neat stuff going on there. I'm not a computer man, but I guess that's why we're using him. But you can't pass up a deal like this. If it's first month is free, jump on there and try it out. He'll do everything he can to help you out. If you got questions, email him. And he's a great guy.
Certainly, it's a product and a service that you would recommend to all friends and family.
Oh, yeah. I think once they try it, they're going to be hooked, because I think the upfront expense to get a website is quite expensive, and his price is normally $14.95 a month. I think you can have almost unlimited pictures if you like going to contests and taking pictures and posting anything you want to post. It's try it out. It's free. Try it out first month.
Quick question. August 12th, premiere season 2 of Barbecue Pitmasters on TLC. Excited to watch it, or kind of lost interest?
I probably won't watch it.
Just because of the change of format?
No, really never did. Never got into it.
No interest, huh?
Nope. We see enough off of 30 last year. We kind of know what it's like, and I think it's great, though. I think it's great for the guys that's not cooking and things like that. They get a good idea of what barbecue contests are, and I think the sport should grow. There's a lot of interest out there that people didn't even know anything about barbecue contests. I think it's good for it.
This is John Patty, pitmaster of JP Custom Smoke, also building some nice custom smokers if you're interested. jpcustomsmoke.com is the website. John, always appreciate the conversation and insight. Continued success, and thanks for coming out tonight.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Have a good evening.
There he is, John Patty. jpcustomsmoke.com. Check him out. Follow him around. Great guy. Quick reminder about the good folks over at the Barbecue Guru. Makers of automatic pit temperature control devices, not to mention a host of other products that make your barbecue and grilling life easier. 2 ways to find them. Toll free, 800-288-GURU. Or on the interwebs, thebbqguru.com. Good folks over at the Barbecue Guru. Going to get Jim Minion talk about Wagyu beef next. It's Rampy and you right here on the Barbecue Central Show.
World Barbecue Champion and star of TLC's Barbecue Pitmasters, Myron Mixon, headlines this September 10th through the 12th at the 5th Annual Taste of the Deerfield Valley in Westover, Vermont. On Friday, Myron Mixon will demonstrate his world-famous barbecue at a VIP dinner and beer pairing at the gorgeous Hermitage Inn. On Saturday, Myron and former New England Culinary Institute executive chef Robert will be demonstrating their cooking skills at Mount Snow Resort. The popular Taste of the Deerfield Valley Food Festival, featuring live music, craft show, and taste from over a dozen of the best restaurants in the Mount Snow area, follows their demonstrations. Packages, including tickets and 2 nights lodging, start at just $159 per person. A portion of the proceeds will go to the Junior Iron Chef program. For more information or to purchase advance tickets, visit CelebrateTheValley.com. That's CelebrateTheValley.com. Sponsored in part by Celebrate the Valley, the town of Dover, G. Housen, 92.7 WKBT, Outside Television, Mount Snow Resort, and the Hermitage Inn. The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose, like ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-bay caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at TheBarbecueGuru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rampy.
Welcome back to the Barbecue Central Show, presented by the 5th Annual Taste of the Deerfield Valley. Myron Mixon headlining this September 10th through the 12th in Vermont with a VIP dinner, cooking demonstration, food festival. Lots of delicious food to consume. Secure your spots today. CelebrateTheValley.com is the website. All right, joining me now to talk about one of the hot topics in barbecue, especially over the past year or so, Pitmaster of Toulouse Screws, barbecue team and catering company, and a man who has some serious experience and knowledge with the Wagyu and Kobe beef, and he joins me now to talk about all of this and break it down expertly for us. Oh, and the answer is yes. This is the guy who created the Minion Method, barbecue legend and friend of the show, Jim Minion. Welcome back to the show, Jim. How are you, buddy? All right, so Jim Minion joining us. Jim, so let's get right to the topic. First, perhaps for those that don't have the knowledge or have been incorrectly using these terms interchangeably, what's the difference between Kobe and Wagyu beef?
The reality of it is it's Wagyu and maybe a Wagyu strained with Black Angus or maybe another line here in the United States. But Kobe beef, they use it a lot for advertising purposes, but to be actually Kobe beef, it needs to be raised and bred in Kobe, Japan.
Just like bourbon has to be made in Bourbon County, Kentucky.
I'll take your word on that one. I like the Tennessee whiskey better.
There you go. So that's the difference between the two. So if people are throwing these terms around, it would be about as correct as saying barbecue and grilling, using those terms interchangeably.
Yeah, except that, like I said, for advertising purposes, there's lots of people out there, lots of the main producers are calling it Kobe. And it's because everybody knows that name, where Wagyu, they don't really know that name as well. So Kobe, they're not necessarily mistaken when they use the term Kobe. It's because that's what they're being told. It's kind of like, politics.
There you go. Now, in your opinion, between the two, is a Wagyu beef and a Kobe beef one better than the other flavor-wise, or are they going to be very similar?
Actually, they're very similar, and the chances that most of us, unless you've been to Kobe, Japan, have had actual Kobe beef, it's very, very small to none. When beef here in the United States, when it's graded, as we know, there's like 5 different grades. In Japan, it's like 13 different grades. And for you to get something at the top grade is next to impossible, and the money's rather prohibitive. You can find Wagyu beef, though, here in America that's going to get a grade up in as high as 10, 11, which is pretty spectacular meat.
Now, is it hard to come by the Wagyu beef? You have to know somebody to get it?
Out here in the West, it's definitely easier. We've got Snake River Farms. We've got Kobe Beef of America. We've got smaller ranchers that are selling off their stuff that are local to Washington, Oregon, Idaho. So it's a little bit easier for us out here. There's no question about that. I know on the East Coast, I listen to the kind of money these guys have to pay out there, and I probably wouldn't pay that kind of money.
What's the difference between a 12-pound packer at Sam's and a Wagyu counterpart?
Well, I haven't got anything from Sam's in a long time. A lot of stuff that we see is select and choice, and it's definitely the choice is pretty good cut. But when you're talking Wagyu, you are talking a prime piece of meat. What I find is there's just normally less connective tissue. With Snake River Farms, for example, the briskets seem to be a little bit larger in size but flatter. The point isn't as big. As you handle it, you can actually feel the fat start to emulsify, I guess would be the word. So you have to handle it a little bit quicker, especially in warm weather. But you can, when people will talk about picking up a brisket in the center and look for the limp on both, for the sag on both sides. Well, with a Kobe beef, both of those corners match.
All right, so let's get into the competition talk just for a second. Let me take you back in time, Jim, to November 2007. You were part of the very first Barbecue Roundtable show on what was just then the Barbecue Central podcast, just added in with Ray Lampe, Leanne Whippen, Ed Morin. We were talking about brisket. To this day, it's still like one of the most popular shows, not only for my records, but just as a barbecue resource in general. And the front end of that show had me asking you specifically about Wagyu and Kobe beef. And at that point, it seemed like more of a specialty or a novelty piece, even if you could afford it or get your hands on it. And it seems like things have rapidly changed, especially like over the last 3 years. Competitors are risking life and limb to get it. Some of the big name teams on the circuit swear by it, leading more and more to its popularity. So, Jim, let's get a little perspective first. Is Wagyu beef as prolific on the circuit as it seems? And perhaps more importantly than all of that, now with brilliant 2020 hindsight, are we both personally responsible for the monstrous popularity and growth of this particular beef since the first brisket roundtable 3 years ago?
Well, I personally think that Snake River Farms and Kobe Beef of America should be sending me royalties, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, baby. Send us the checks, man.
It was out here in the West. We've actually been using it for a couple of years, like I said, because it was available. On the East Coast, it wasn't as available. But if you've been cooking out on the circuit for very long, one of the things that you do understand is if you start with better product, the chances of you having a great product in the end is definitely increased. So what I think has probably happened is that you're seeing some top teams, they started to use the product, they learned how to cook it, and it's working extremely well for them. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we cooked a number of contests with it, and we always finished in the money. I mean, we took a lot of first places, a lot of seconds, a lot of thirds. I mean, it always finished in the money. But again, up here, we were cooking against a lot of Kobe beef also.
Do you think it's a fad stage right now, or is it here to stay, the Wagyu beef?
I think the market is, unless the economy really goes into the tank, I think as long as people can afford to buy it, they're going to buy it. The one thing that's in our favor is that the Japanese don't eat it. So if you look at what happens with these animals as they get slaughtered, a lot of the really choice cuts get sent off to Japan at really top dollar. We're $700 a pound for tenderloin and stuff like that. So the nice thing is the brisket actually stays here. Now, what's interesting, though, is I actually cooked for Weyerhaeuser, did a catering for them, and they brought in a gentleman from Japan that owned the 3 largest lumber mills over there for building homes. And we fed him brisket, and we really enjoyed it, along with the salmon we fed him. So I think if the Japanese actually found out that it really is a good cut of beef, they probably would eat it. But let's not tell them.
There you go. Jim Minion joining us here, Pitmaster of Tulu Screws barbecue team, also a catering company. So, Jim, if there's a team that desperately feels the need to use this in competition, obviously the most important thing to know is how to properly cook it. You have a tremendous amount of experience with this beef. Is there a best way to cook it, or are you going to treat it like any other brisket?
I've never tried a high temperature cook with it, and I have actually seen where you can actually boil the fat out of the thing before it's actually finished, and leave actually pockets in it. So I've always used a slower cook. We're normally going to start the cook for maybe 3 hours at 190 degrees and then bump it up to about 2 1/4. But after that, we handle it like you would any other brisket. I'll take it off the pit at about 190, let it set for a couple hours, wrapped in heavy duty foil, and sitting in a dry cooler, and that does work extremely, extremely well. After that, like I said, when you're first starting to handle it, you have to be kind of quick with it when you're doing your trimming and stuff like that. Which I never do a lot of trimming on them, other than maybe for some size or shape. But the fat I leave on it, I'll put it fat side down on the cookers and let it protect itself from the heat coming from below.
As far as mouthfeel and flavor are concerned, much better than other briskets? Similar? Do you not need to add as much rub or injection to get that beefy flavor?
I have not added any. We don't add any injection. There might be teams out there that do, but we haven't used any injections at all. The mouthfeel can be slightly different. I think it more has to do with how you cook it, and if you've It does change the mouthfeel slightly, but I think judges are getting more and more used to it, because especially I haven't cooked out of this area in a couple of years now, so I don't know what it's like to be back in the Midwest on the East Coast and seeing how the judges are reacting to it. But it sounds to me like they're getting used to it and enjoying the product. So it sounds to me like it's working.
So, in your personal opinion, Jim, is adding Wagyu beef to your arsenal of competition cooking meats going to put you over the top as a competitive team? Do you need to have it in order to win?
There's teams out there winning without it. Do you have to have it? No. if you know what you're doing and you are using it, can it change the percentages of your chance? I think absolutely. But it is a food contest. I mean, it really gets down to what table did you go across and did the judges like it?
Jim Minion is the creator of the Minion Method and is pitmaster of Two Loose Screws Barbecue, also a catering company. The word TWO, Two Loose Screws BBQ.com. Jim, always appreciate the conversation and insight. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Hey, good hearing from you again.
All right, take care, Jim. There he is.
You too.
Wagyu expert Jim Minion. To the word two, TWO, Two Loose Screws BBQ.com. You can also find him on any number of the forums, to include the Barbecue Central forum, which can be found at thebbqcentral.com. Also on Barbecue Brethren. Also over at, I don't know if he still posts on that ancient barbecue forum. Or whatever, but look for him. A great guy and a lot of experience breaking down the Wagyu/Kobe beef. Hey, quick reminder about BBQ Teams Online. The internet is not a fad, Centralites, as much as you hope it is. It's also not just for porno. If you do not have an internet presence, then you are losing valuable exposure. Not a tech geek, no problem. For a small monthly investment, you can now own your own spot on the internet. And you can start with a 30-day free trial. BBQ Teams Online. Mike Ryan is a genius, offering you fully customizable websites for you, your team, your barbecue business. Again, bbqteamsonline.com. Or it's your chance to win fun and succulent prizes. Dial in now for the 4-segment free-for-all with Harry Carey, 877-448-0433. This is the Barbecue Central Radio Network. Hey, gang. Want to talk to you real quick about something that's very important when you're buying stuff online. You need to deal with a company that is reputable and knows what they're doing, and that's why I always recommend Fred Bernardo of Fred's Music and BBQ.com. We all know that Fred's Music is the barbecue and grilling superstore, from any kind of cooker you want to gas and charcoal grills and all the accoutrements in between to make your barbecue and grilling experience a success. But more important than all of that, Fred has been there and Fred will be there in the future. How many times have you heard the story about the guy that found that great cooker for a ridiculously low price, except it was back ordered for 10 months, or worse yet, he paid up front and never got the product? That's because some of these online retailers are here one day and gone the next. Fred has the inventory to meet your needs. It's competitively priced and shipped promptly. Shop where I shop. Fred's Music and BBQ.com. Headache-free guaranteed. Fred's Music and BBQ.com, or if you're in Shillington, Pennsylvania, stop by and see the smoking guitar player himself. Hey, gang, right here to talk about bbqteamsonline.com. Do you have a website? Get your barbecue team online. Visit bbqteamsonline.com for a high-quality, professionally made, fully customizable website. Easily display your team's upcoming events, start your very own online store, post event results, and show off those award-winning ribs in your photo gallery. Get your team online today by going to bbqteamsonline.com. Visit today.
Introducing Cosmos Q. Cosmos injections and marinades use only the finest ingredients, and they mix easily, never clotting or caking. From our beef injection to our pork injection, you're guaranteed to wow your friends, family, and judges. And don't forget to check out our newest marinade, Cosmos Chicken Soak, for that moist and tender chicken you're gonna love. You can find all of Cosmos award-winning products at cosmosq.com. Cosmos Q, the new generation. Taste the difference.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
That's right, this is the Barbecue Central Show, presented by the 5th Annual Taste of the Deerfield Valley. Myron Mixon headlining September 10th through the 12th in Vermont with a VIP dinner cooking demonstration. Food Festival. CelebrateTheValley.com is the website. Also by D-Dogs BBQ, now offering free shipping on all orders at ddogsbbq.com. And 2 new products, offering to you a Texas-style barbecue sauce and a jalapeno rib glaze. Did I mention free shipping? That's right. Head on over to ddogsbbq.com. You will be happy that you ordered some. And remember, the D-Dogs barbecue rubs and sauces are better than ketchup, baby. All right, let's go ahead and race over to the 4-segment free-for-all. Hey everybody, Harry Carey here. Okay, another Tuesday. I'm feeling great. Cubs win last night, I think. I don't know. Okay, here's how we're going to play the game. I'm going to race over to the phone line. We're going to take barbecue questions or not barbecue questions, your choice, and you have 5 seconds to answer each question for your chance to win a prize. It's very simple. Hey, if I can understand it, you should too, okay? Okay. Let's race over to the phone line, area code 517, 4th-segment free-for-all. Who's this?
David?
Hey, David, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
All right.
All right, David, you want to play the game?
I do.
Would you like barbecue questions or non-barbecue questions?
Oh, let's try barbecue questions.
All right, David. Question number 1. Name my first guest tonight.
Was John from JR's Custom Smoke?
I'll give it to you. I'll give that one to you, David. It's JP Custom Smoke, but who's counting? I know I'm not. I could care less what his name is. You at least called in. That's all I could ask for, David. Okay. So you have one question right. Question number 2. Are you ready?
Yes.
Name the best-selling charcoal grill in the country.
Weber.
That's right. Weber is correct. David, you're 2 for 2, just like Andre Dawson was in the World Series of 1978. Are you ready for the 3rd question?
I'm ready.
David, if you answer this correctly, you can win a prize. Are you excited?
I am.
I know I am. Okay, here we go, David. 3rd question. Can you name the After Dark guest tonight on the Barbecue Central radio show?
I cannot.
Oh, David.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Maybe you should know who's going to be on the After Dark segment here on the Barbecue Central radio show if you're going to call into the 4th-segment free-for-all. Just a word to the wise, David. Chris Hart from IQ. Or so the sheet says. I was just handed the sheet. Or we can take one more call here before I have to go get out of town. Area code 516. This is Harry Carey. Who's this?
Hey, this is Don.
Hey, Don, how are you?
Real good?
Don, would you like to play the game?
Yes, I would.
Would you like barbecue questions or not barbecue questions?
Let's go barbecue.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Don, can you name my 2nd segment guest tonight?
That would be Jim Minion.
That would be Jim Minion. Very good. That's at least what it says here on the paper. I wasn't here personally for the interview, as we all know. Okay, here we go. 2nd question. Name the best-selling charcoal grill in the world.
That would be what's in my backyard, a Weber.
That's right, Weber Kettle. All right, 3rd question. Don, are you excited?
I am.
I know I am. Okay, Don, here we go. Don, can you name the After Dark guest that'll be coming up at 10:05 Eastern Standard Time on the Barbecue Central radio show?
That would be Chris Hart from IQ.
That's right. Don, you've done very well, gone 3 for 3 like Ron Say did back in the World Series of 1984 with the Chicago Cubs, and now you can win a prize. We have some new rub from Barbecue Hooks. We have some wild game rub. We also have some cedar planks. We have some oak wood-infused wine wood from Greenleaf Barbecue. We also have some Cosmos Q, which you can choose from. What would you like?
I'd like that oak wood.
The wine-infused oak wood from greenleafbbq.com. All right, we can hook you up with that, Don. No problem. All you're going to have to do is send me your shipping information at winner at thebbqcentralshow.com.
Winner at thebbqcentral.com.
Well, just one winner. Don't be a smarty pants, Don, okay? One winner.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Winner at thebbqcentralshow.com.
Excellent.
All right, thanks for calling in tonight, Don.
Thanks, Harry.
Cubs win. Cubs win. Hey, guess what? That's going to do it for me. We'll see you back here next Tuesday for my show, the 4-segment free-for-all. Good night. All right, looks like we got a winner, thanks to Hall of Fame broadcaster. For the Cubs, John Petty. The who? The Cubs. Looks like Don won. Some oakwood-infused wine-infused oakwood. GreenleafBBQ.com, the supplier of that product. Thanks to my first segment guest tonight, John Patty from JP Custom Smoke, breaking down some competition barbecue, giving us some tips and tricks. Thanks to Jim Minion for talking about the Wagyu beef craze. And it's a craze, ladies and gentlemen, believe it. And also, to Don for calling in for the 4-segment free-for-all. Stand by for Chris Hart coming up after dark at 10:05 Eastern. We'll do a little news first, and then we will be back. This is the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Networks.